Hello, I am the web novel guy, here to bring 10 reincarnated web novels to read, picked by me. Of course, if any web novel interests you, give it a try, and also like and subscribe my channel. Dark Fantasies Extra. Eugene is reincarnated into the dark, grim world of a game he once played obsessively. He knows everything about it, all the hidden items, boss strategies, and even the critical choices that lead to the elusive happy ending. The only problem? He's just an extra, a background character with no real power or role in the main story. This web novel stands out because the main character uses his intelligence and deep knowledge of the game to survive and influence events from behind the scenes. Eugene isn't overpowered. Instead, he's more like a veteran mentor who helps train the real protagonists so they can survive until the end. As for the story itself, I'd say it's pretty solid. If you enjoy web novels where the MC relies on strategy, wit, and experience rather than brute strength, this one might be for you. But if you're looking for an overpowered main character who crushes enemies effortlessly, this probably won't satisfy you.
2. Global Life Lottery. Only I can choose the rewards. In this web novel, an apocalyptic game has descended upon the world, and now lifespan is the only currency that matters. Monsters drop mysterious fate roulette wheels, and to spin them, players must sacrifice years of their lives. Some spend 10 years and receive powerful rewards, while others gamble away 1,000 years, only to get worthless trash in return. The main character, after saving up an incredible 1 million years of lifespan to spin the rare golden roulette wheel, is suddenly engulfed in a blinding golden light and reborn at the very beginning of the apocalypse. This time, however, he gains a powerful ability, the power to directly choose his rewards instead of gambling. This web novel is an exciting and addicting read. The MC seems to be constantly surrounded by danger, like the whole world is against him, but he always has a trump card up his sleeve. The story features expansive world building, a high-stakes apocalyptic setting, and a main character with cheat-like abilities. If you enjoy apocalypse survival stories with clever, overpowered protagonists and a richly developed world, this one definitely won't disappoint.
3A. A story of a cannon fodder who firmly believed he was the protagonist, misunderstood the actual protagonist as the cannon fodder, and ended up victorious. A high school boy who always admired the protagonists of fiction meets an untimely end after being hit by a truck. When he opens his eyes, he finds himself standing before a god. The god tells him he'll be reincarnated into a world based on a novel, and not just as anyone, but as the protagonist. Excited by the chance to live out his dream, our main character accepts without hesitation. But there's a twist. The god lied. Instead of becoming the hero, he's reborn as a lowly cannon fodder character, someone meant to die early just for the sake of the plot, all for the god's amusement. But here's the catch. That doesn't happen. Rather than giving in to his fate, he sticks to his beliefs and follows his vision of what a true protagonist should be. And through sheer willpower and determination, he begins to change the world itself. My thoughts. This web novel is really entertaining and surprisingly funny. At least it was for me. What I enjoyed most is the MC's inner monologue. He genuinely believes he's the protagonist and takes bold actions based on that mindset. His over-the-top confidence and the way he reacts to situations is hilarious. If you're into self-aware, meta-style stories with a comedic twist, definitely give this one a try. 4. Dungeon's final boss, banished by my boss, the goddess, to Earth. So I'll continue my past life. After dying from overwork, the protagonist, Jiro Hasegawa, is reincarnated as a dungeon monster in another world. Through sheer effort, constant evolution, and a lot of grinding, he eventually becomes the final boss, the powerful guardian of the dungeon's deepest floor. But even after all his hard work, the goddess overseeing the dungeon fails to recognize his true worth. Thinking he's become too costly to maintain, she decides to transfer him to another dungeon, or so he believes. Instead, he gets outright fired. And the place he ends up in? Earth. Back in the modern world. Here's the fun twist. The goddess replaces him with a new dungeon master, not realizing that Jiro was the real reason the dungeon's monsters were so powerful. The dungeon, which hadn't been cleared in over 100,000 years, suddenly gets wiped out with ease after he's gone. Now, back on Earth, Jiro discovers that dungeons and monsters exist here too, along with hunters ranked from A to S class. And with his final boss-level powers, things start to get very interesting. This web novel is packed with humor, overpowered action, and a unique take on dungeon fantasy. If you enjoy OP Protagonist with a comedic twist, give this one a try.
5. I thought it was my second life, but it was actually my third. I will challenge unhappy history with historical knowledge and domestic efforts. The protagonist is reincarnated as the second son of a barony family. After a series of calamities take his family away, he becomes the head of the household at just 16 years old. Despite working desperately to rebuild and protect his territory, he's just an ordinary young man, unable to stop the disasters or revive his declining land. Branded as incompetent, he loses everything when a neighboring country invades and defeats him at the age of 20. At the moment of his execution, he pleads for his people's safety, and something miraculous happens. He awakens to magical powers and rewinds time, sending himself back to the moment of his birth. Now, in his third life, he retains not only the memories of his past life in that world, but also his first life as a modern Japanese man. With the combined knowledge of Japan's modern world and the history he lived through in his second life, he sets out to prevent the tragedies that destroyed his family and territory. What makes this web novel stand out is its kingdom-building aspect. Unlike many stories where the MC suddenly becomes a lord, here, being a lord isn't just a title, it's a role tied to special powers and one that must be earned through the trust of the people. Since the MC is still a child, he works his way up by gradually improving the domain, introducing inventions from the modern world, and gaining the people's approval step by step. If you're into strategic development, political intrigue, and slow burn growth, this web novel won't disappoint you. Definitely worth checking out.
6. The Peerless Emperor. Lin Qian was a gaming legend on Earth, a true pay-to-win player who dominated the server with his massive empire. But after a sudden accident, he finds himself reborn into a completely different world, one filled with cultivation, alchemy, and mystical arts. Unfortunately, things don't go smoothly at first. Despite having slightly better cultivation talent than others, Lin Qian is hopeless when it comes to life skills. He blows up furnaces while trying to refine pills, ruins weapons during crafting, and has no clue how to use formations. But then comes the big twist. Lin Qian discovers that the powerful empire he built in the game, the one that once ruled the server, has somehow followed him into this new world. That's right, his massive, unstoppable army has been reborn with him. At first, you might wonder where all the soldiers and generals are, but give it a few chapters and things start to get real. Once Lin Qian regains control of his empire, he becomes an unstoppable force. With an overpowered MC and an equally overpowered army at his command, he takes down anyone who dares to stand in his way. If you enjoy cultivation stories with a twist, powerful main characters, and strategy mixed with fantasy warfare, this web novel is absolutely worth checking out.
7. Legendary Hero is an Academy Honors student. Long ago, 5 legendary heroes stood against Erebos, the primordial evil that nearly destroyed the world. Brave Aaron, God's blacksmith Dueno, the founder of the nebula Luna, King of Wisdom Racinus, and finally, the hero of beginning, Kyle, the protagonist. Fast forward 5,000 years, the world remembers those heroes as legends. Statues, stories, and praise are everywhere, but there's one exception. Kyle, the hero of beginning.
For some reason, his name has been completely erased from history. After reincarnating 5,000 years later, Kyle is shocked to discover that no one remembers his role in saving the world. Determined to uncover the truth, he enrolls in the Hero Academy, a place where the deeds of past heroes are recorded, to find out why he was forgotten. This web novel has a strong start with a powerful MC, reincarnation, and a mix of mystery, action, and family drama. If you enjoy stories where the protagonist grows stronger while uncovering secrets from the past, this is a solid pick. Plus, it has a manhwa adaptation, so if you're more into visuals, you can try that too.
8. I am sought after by everyone in a different world where the power and chastity of men and women are reversed. When MC opened his eyes, he found himself in a different world. In this world, the gender ratio between females and males is 3-to-1. Women were also naturally stronger in terms of strength and magic power. Because of this, contrary to his original world, men are considered as weak here and often targeted by monsters and female bandits. Furthermore, it turned out his aptitude, profession, is a male saint, the highest rank of a healer, the only job in this world that can use recovery magic. So MC treated the people while trying to hide the fact that his job is a male saint. It's not really my kind of story, but that doesn't mean it's bad. If you like this genre, definitely give it a shot. 9. Copy skills with affinity. Aiden Kellermain is a small-time con artist who lives by his father's mantra, when you get involved in things beyond your means, trouble is inevitable. He accepts his limitations, staying in his lane as an insignificant criminal to avoid drawing attention or getting caught up in anything dangerous. Despite awakening memories of a past life on Earth, Aiden continues to live an unremarkable life, steering clear of major conflicts and avoiding the important characters in this fantasy game's world. However, everything changes when he encounters Noelle Astria Seamus, a legendary warrior known as the Goddess of War and one of the most powerful figures in the Empire. Noelle's path is intertwined with the main storyline of the game, marked by war, heroics, and an impending forced marriage that could alter the fate of the continent. In this web novel, the main character has a unique ability. He can build relationships with important characters who influence the main storyline of the world he reincarnated into, and by doing so, he can copy their skills. Early on, one of the female leads forces him into being her fake husband. The twist? The MC is a skilled con artist who uses his acting talents to deceive others while cleverly taking advantage of his overpowered abilities. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely give it a try.
Mellow and mysterious life of an exiled villainess and a reincarnated baron. Chloe Hartfield is a feudal lord of a remote region. He was born with the primary knowledge of this world: reincarnation, otome game, magic, academy, the future of this world. In other words, according to his memories, this was a world of a game from his previous life. However, he was reincarnated not as the main character, the villainess, or the capture target, but rather as the son of a noble who barely missed the chance to attend the academy with the protagonist due to their slight age difference and didn't even appear in the main game. Also, he didn't get any privileges that came with being a reincarnator. In addition, he made an enemy out of a person with high status at the academy and was demoted into being the feudal lord of a remote region. Just as he had changed his way of looking at his life, considering it as a second chance to live a different life unrelated to the game, his marriage was suddenly decided. And his partner was Violet Valentine, the woman who fulfilled the role of a villainess in this world. This is the story of two people living a laid-back life while misunderstanding each other, falling in love, and occasionally going crazy. This one's more on the romance and slice of life side. If that's your thing, give it a try.
That's it for this list. I hope this video was useful for any of you guys, and see you at next video.